Hello, Dr. Sir. Karan.
Hi, Karen. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, fine. Everything fine. I could manage it. I, I could go to church and all, and I came fast for joining.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a very
It
good
seems
attempt
like,
from
yes,
your side. Yeah, it's a wonderful attempt.
all praise to God. We realized that during the COVID times, we realized that people were sharing, actually, many old activists were sharing that there is no study of vaccinated and unvaccinated children, like a comparative health study. It has never happened in history that health outcomes after vaccinated correlation with unvaccinated. So somehow, that is the most critical research or most critical topic. Since for us, research conversation, we don't have to publish it anywhere. Anyways. For our own guidance, we can rely on what you people have seen on ground, being therapists and healers. So I'm looking forward to such experiences where we can, pinpoint that obviously it is very, very obvious that vaccinated kids have faced much more health consequences than unvaccinated.
Because it's a
Right?
poisoning. It's a legitimate poisoning of the entire population. They have got the privilege or they have got the right to do that. Nobody is there to question. So it's a mass chemical poisoning.
Mass chemical poisoning. Yes, yes. So most of us here understand it, but I think through GHK, recently I got introduced that toxins are not so much trouble than the shock of poking the needles and the shock of being taken to the doctor. That is an added, you know, trouble for the child. Okay, maybe body is so supreme. Maybe if vaccinated with peace, without a conflict, without realizing, maybe it can handle it very nicely. But there is so much of chaos and trouble involved for the child that they almost hate seeing doctors. And in the small towns, I've realized that even the sight of medicine gets the child into a very anxiety and panic attack. The child breaks down totally, just the sight of medicine. And parents, they're forcing the children as if this is for their greater good. So all these myths now, all these ideas have to be challenged and addressed. And parents who have decided to do it with different reasons, I feel we are going to assist them while traveling. We are going to organize different workshops or gatherings offline. So today will be a good opportunity to meet all like-minded parents and individuals. And we also join as individuals today, not as experts or therapists, because when you were not so deep into subjects of healing, maybe 30, 40 years ago, then also you were aware of vaccination. And it was a journey in the society, how to take it, how to establish this in,
In
you know,
50 years in homeopathic medical science, knowledge, learning. I joined a medical college in the year 1974. So,
yeah. So,
so
and the idea of vaccination would, was clear throughout. So
no, no,
somehow
no.
in the,
It was
okay,
not
wonderful.
clear. I got it very correctly after learning GNM only because it gave a lot of insights into my mind. Okay, now it's time, no?
Yes, people are joining.
Okay, okay,
So far we have 17 of us together, and
okay,
I'm hoping 20 more will join very soon. So let us give them little time
okay.
and have this thing side, side discussion since you are here. If you can share about deforming journeys also for 5 minutes, that how people are taking the deworming cause, if they are not so much fond of medicine. And I've been
The problem is with your network or my network, some breaking is there. There is some break in the network. There is break in the voice. Your network is okay?
Is it better?
Now it's okay.
Must be my network. Yeah, somebody was asking in the group about the deworming situation.
Deworming, that has got nothing to do with this topic, so therefore we'll skip it.
We'll skip it. Okay. Okay, let us begin. So I'm audible nicely, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So from you, I want you to address that when you realized.
You start. I will be given a chance to speak. You start and you conduct. You be the organizer and everything. I will be there to talk for 10 minutes. I will be, as you said, I'll be talking. You carry on. You conduct you as you have got plan in your mind, no? Like that.
Sure. This is good for network. Okay, Saman is also here. So let us both.
Hi, Saman.
Hi. Hello, Dr.
Hi. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. You remember me?
Of course, Dr. Varghese, we talk about you every day.
Okay. Nice.
Achha, I need help from Existential Knowledge Foundation. If Sashi and if anybody is here, we are continuously, people are getting admitted and we have to click admit, just to get them here. And it's a little bit of distraction for us. If there is any auto setting so that they can join without our permission,
No,
it
I
will be
think
nice.
the host will have to do it unless we make somebody else also the host.
Okay.
Co-host.
We'll have to learn this also.
Okay. When we start speaking, you can keep the Let's take the first statement. Can we give a bit of an introduction?
Yeah, go on.
Hi. So we can start now.
Yeah.
We have
Yes, I am ready.
We have a lot of people now. Thank you everybody for joining in. I'm Saman. This is my husband Karan. We have 4 children. Alhamdulillah. My eldest is going to be 6 now next month, 6 years old. And she was born at the under the midwifery care. And
Your voice is breaking.
baby was born in Goa. And now he's going to be. And then my third child is was born at home here in Delhi. And Tapasya Kulkarni was my independent midwife who came home to assist me. And my youngest who just Am I audible?
Now audible?
Am I audible?
Yes. Not visible.
Okay. Okay. So my youngest was a free birth when my husband and my daughter and my other children are sad. And he just 6 years old. All our children are completely unvaccinated, never taken a medicine except for our eldest daughter. village, when we took this decision.
Saman and Karan, your voice is breaking. Maybe you can keep your video off. That may help.
I think we also have to keep adding people so it keeps going. So initially we met with a lot of resistance regarding our decision not to vaccinate, and other things also. We decided to completely forego the main
Saman and Karan, your voice is still breaking. Maybe you can keep your video off.
We never went for any drug. For people thinking this updated.
Saman and Karan, maybe you can keep your video off. The voice is breaking. So,
Okay, sure.
Okay. Is this better?
yes. Maybe you have to start from the beginning.
Okay. Is it better?
Yeah. Maybe you have to start from the beginning. Much audible.
We are.
Hey, what's the format of this conversation?
There is no format basically. Many people are joining, including healers and therapists. So we are going to share what we went through, and then we will have responses from healers and therapists that we have identified and who are joining. And then we'll open the mic for discussion. It's not a formal, so much of formal gathering. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I'll have to leave like another 10 minutes.
Okay. Is my voice better now?
For now, it is better, but it
Okay.
does keep
So yeah,
breaking
someone.
in between. And we need the introduction
We
again. We
usually have
couldn't
no
get
network issues, so
anything
I
from
found
what
a spot
someone
where
was
I have,
talking.
Okay, to brief you and everyone else quickly, 6 years ago, we decided to go on this path and we faced so many challenges. And these
Actually, not a thing. We can't record. I can't record anything you say.
necessary and information for. Okay, and most importantly, it will save relationships. It will save.
Hey, this is not helping. I mean, I can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, is it better?
Yeah, now it's better. I can hear. Is it better? But after
Okay,
that,
we have switched to 1 second. We have switched to the network entirely, so this should improve. We are on a different network now. Is it better?
yes, it is better.
Okay, so let us hope it will sustain. Okay. So I welcome all of us together. I'm admitting more people. So 7 more people have joined. So I welcome all of us, and I'm sharing quickly that in past 6 years on our journey of not vaccinating our children and not giving them pharmaceutical, out of inspiration, out of a call from within that we couldn't deny, we have faced so many challenges. We have gained so many insights. Now, when we meet new parents, it's a very detailed topic. So we decided to have a good conversation, addressing all the potential myths and record it so that it becomes easy to share around. Okay. And in this attempt, we have invited all those who have inspired us, all those who have guided us, like people who are readily available, including doctors and therapists, whom we can consult later also to get more ideas and get our families on board with it. Okay, we can organize more talks around the subject so that it becomes a common thing to challenge the notion of vaccination, so that it comes on the table at least, right? For now, it is very difficult to even say that, oh, you don't want to vaccinate it. Our children, for example, somebody in written consent had written it to Sitaram Bhati Hospital that once their child is born, they don't want to vaccinate the child. Sir. But they, out of habit, forgot to read her file and ended up vaccinating the child. And it became such a huge thing. Okay, so these notions now have to be challenged like on the face. And as of now, there is no study of vaccinated versus unvaccinated comparative in terms of health outcomes. Okay, so we will encourage being researchers. We will encourage that today with Nutan Lakhanpal Pandit. She has been a birth activist for many, many years, almost 3 decades, if I know correctly. In 1970s, she started it, 4 decades. So, and I think from the beginning, she realized, and it will be interesting to understand, since she is working on this field with natural childbirth and other women, when it comes to health, she uses backflow remedies and all. So she has very good idea of what is happening in terms of health and vaccination. So if Nutan Masi, if you're there, if you're listening to me, if my audio is clear, I request you to please share when did this notion of vaccine started in, when you were getting into this field or you were already into this field, and what are the challenges that you faced in your family, in the society, and more insights about the subject. Over to you, Nutan Masi.
Hey guys, I'll have to leave. I have to go somewhere. Be there at 12. So, hello. Yeah. Hi. So my name is Chidambaran. My children are like 21 and 17 years old.
Hold on, Chidu. I know you have to leave. Just give me 2 minutes. Nutan Masi, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here, but I'm taken a little by surprise. I don't know what to say. I haven't prepared anything. I was just here to participate. And yes, I have had people who have not wanted to vaccinate, and I have a whole series of interviews of experts talking on vaccination. And talking about the nasties that they now add in vaccinations, like for instance, they add aluminium to give it a shelf life, because otherwise they need a cold chain to prevent it from spoiling. But aluminium is not good for babies, but it is added in the vaccinations these days. And so are other nasties like mercury and formaldehyde. So vaccinations are now plenty that are offered. I think there are about 60 to 80 on offer right now, and you really don't need to get all of them. It is overwhelming, and this whole thing of vaccinations is on the increase, not only for babies, for adults as well. So you have vaccinations, flu vaccinations, adults taking flu vaccinations every year, every year. And I don't see their health improving in any way. I feel they are only getting worse in their general health and well-being. And but they are so listening to their doctors that this is the best thing. And there are so many vaccinations they take, and I feel I used to be not very healthy compared to my peers, but now I find I'm the healthiest because I haven't been taking these vaccinations that are on offer. And we really have to also trust in nature a little bit, because nature takes care. We have got to the mindset where we feel we are in charge of everything. We are responsible for everything, starting from breastfeeding, and so many lactation consultants are there. But the problems in breastfeeding are increasing the more professionals we have. And when people were breastfeeding out of instinct, out of just being natural, they were not hung up on milk blebs and mastitis. And also these days, there's so much of fear mongering out there, that if you don't do this, that'll happen. If you don't do this, that'll happen. And that the fear has kind of seeped into the psyche of people. And when people are afraid, they get very vulnerable, because they will do anything just to save themselves when they are in panic mode, which is what is the general atmosphere these days. There's no listening to intuition. There's no trusting on nature happening anymore. There's more of living out of fear and feeling that you are in control. You're not in control. You're not in control. Today, like, anything can happen. There can be a flood, there can be a tsunami, there can be an earthquake, and where is all your control gone? I mean, all the disaster management may not be able to control the disaster, but they feel very secure because there's disaster management out there. But it's just that we need to trust, we need to flow with nature. Like when there was a tsunami, the people who survived, the child who survived was the one who just hung on to a coconut tree branch and flowed with the water, didn't fight it. And that was the child who survived. So when we flow, there's a lot of wisdom in that, I think.
Rightly pointed. We recently, I've been introduced to a subjects of faith healing. There was a MBBS, MD, PhD doctor who has very evidently shared that faith is a different state of mind, and it correlates with what free birth, what people of natural birthing are saying, that the biology is totally different. When you are at surrender, the wisdom of body is like unreal, unmatched. So at that level, there is no need for vaccination. But even if you are not at faith, do we really actually need vaccines to, have some support, or the science is totally bogus? How was it in 1970s when you had thought of having a natural childbirth center, but just after the birth, women were being advised to give them polio, to give, kids hepatitis or STD, sexually transmitted disease related vaccinations were giving to 6-month-old. So how was it back then, like 2-3 decades ago?
There were not so many vaccinations. There were very few. There was not such a large number of vaccinations available. It was very different. And they were very minimum, just I think BCG. And yes, the HPV, I think human papillon virus, that's for sexually transmitted diseases, which they're giving to newborn girls. They were giving to earlier, now they're giving it to boys as well. And that is an infection. Okay, if the mother's carrying it, you can give it to the baby. But if just because one mother may carry it, you don't give it to all the 100 mothers as well, you know. You have to just test the mother, and like in medicine, I think everything should be more customized. What are the symptoms that are showing up? What is required for A, B, and C? It's so much more convenient to have a blanket thing for everybody, which is expensive, which makes the factor of money come in. So it's very profitable when you're getting a kickback from the drugs that you prescribe. It's tempting to offer them, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I've been getting messages that people are not able to join, but here I have no updates that, I'm not getting any option for admitting anybody. So just letting people.
On my screen, it says 10 people entered in the waiting room. View.
Can you see the waiting room?
Okay, yeah.
Can
It
you
is.
admit them?
Okay, but why I'm not host? How come?
I don't know. I was
Okay.
getting all these messages.
I admitted them. Let's see.
Oh yeah, people have joined now. We are
Okay.
31. Okay, I don't know why you are getting these updates, but thank you. So it is very evident for our case also. My daughter, who is eldest now, she was given vitamin K shot, and all other kids, they get into fever, they enjoy it very nicely. But for her, in early years, when she was like 2.5, she was getting out of body experiences. With other kids, this has never happened. She was sharing that it is happening as if she's leaving the body. So I never got a chance to discuss that, but it was vitamin K shot. So maybe if I get to meet other parents. And Nutan Masi, there is no study to have a comparison, no? The outcomes, there is no proper study to compare the outcomes of kids who have been vaccinated versus kids who have not been vaccinated in terms of their health and status.
No, I don't think there's a study. No. I'm not aware of it if there is. Maybe someone online can ask everybody.
I researched on this thing, medical journals database, PubMed and other databases, but I couldn't find one. And one production house, which is called Highwire, the Highwire, who has been making content about the subject many years, they also shared in one of their presentation that there is no study at all. Like it has never been done, and all the studies of safety and efficiency is being done on the existing model. For example, compared to safety standards of influenza, the next vaccine is compared to according to the existing safety protocols. That this is 20% more safer than the influenza vaccine, which is very misleading way of research. So like that, there is so much of bogus research happening around the subject. Yeah. So somebody has shared that autistic people are directly accumulating the neurotoxin. So that is what I wanted to discuss with Varghese Saab. According to Germanic healing knowledge, toxins do play a role, but body is perfectly capable of detoxing it, I believe. So what are your views, Varghese Saab, if people are getting vaccinated and if it is the toxin, is body capable of removing that toxins, or should we go for detox, and what is your observation around the subject, Varghese?
Okay, thank you, Karan. Let me start my presentation.
Sure.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I thank Saman and Karan for inviting me to join this group and allowing me to share my thoughts on this very vital and life-changing topic. At the same time, I congratulate this young couple who tried to parent their 4 children in the most biological manner. Also, I extend my prayerful best wishes to all the humanitarian activities. Today, I invite you to reconsider our approach to health and disease. Let's explore the wisdom of trusting nature over needles. Nature's blueprint. Observe the birds up in the sky, animals around us on the land, and fishes in the ocean. We are biologically programmed to live in harmony with nature without external assistance. That is the most important thing everybody has to understand. We don't need any chemical, any vaccine, anything from outside. That is how the life is designed by the creator. If someone believes in God, or take it as nature. And in nature or in the course of life, conflicts are sure to happen and they are inherent part of life. Diseases are our body's response to unexpected distress. This knowledge or this wisdom is given to the world for the first time, I would say, in a very systematic way by Dr. Raikeji Hammer, who is the proponent or the father we can call, creator or we can call, or the person who introduced this new knowledge to the world, Dr. Raikeji Hammer. It was really a breakthrough. What he revealed, I'm not going to the details of this new knowledge or the wisdom, but very few things I would like to share with you. According to him, every disease is a significant biological special program to assist during distress. So these programs are called SBS, Significant Biological Special Program in GNM or GHK. So SBS originates from an unexpected conflict shock, according to GNM, which is called the Dirk-Hammer syndrome, after the name of his son who was shot dead. And after the death of his beloved son of 19 years, he developed a testicular cancer, and followed by 30 to 40 years of research, which resulted or culminated in this knowledge called Germanic New Knowledge. According to it, microbes are not of any inimical function, or they don't do anything harmful. Microbes are healing and not at all causing diseases. So coming to the debunking vaccination myths, I am a person who strongly believes that vaccination and its successful stories are all myths, because there are no conclusive evidence supporting vaccination's effectiveness. Disease decline preceded vaccination introduction itself, and vaccines pose health hazards due to toxic ingredients, as it is already told by Nuthan, like formaldehyde, aluminum phosphate, thimerosal. It is a mercury component like that. Vaccination experiences can trigger distress, chronic conditions, and fresh conflict shock, about which we are talking with Karan, that even a needle can cause an additional distress and additional disease to the child, or even in the case of adults also. So what they claim is always like this: once vaccinated, they develop a few antibodies. Actually, these antibodies have got nothing to do with the immune system mechanism, as they explain. When I say all these things, my listeners should understand I'm a homeopathic doctor, learning homeopathy for the last 50 years. So according to my knowledge and understanding, which I got from German New Medicine, increased antibodies indicate wound healing. So a prick is made, an injury is made, or even the chemical component of these vaccines can act as poisonous things, or they can even cause minute or micro injury on our system. And that is how these antibodies are formed. And these antibodies are actually responses of our inherent system to fight not the microbes or bacteria or virus, but it is against the injury. So antibodies respond to cell damage. That's the right usage from toxic vaccine components. So why then they will ask why there has happened some improvement in some diseases in some part of the world or in some very limited studies. They are all happening because of the improved hygiene, sanitation, nutrition, and there is a lot of labor laws have increased. There is a development in the human life system, culture, like electricity is there, refrigeration is there, etc. So to conclude, I strongly believe trusting nature means embracing our biological design. Vaccinations are unnecessary, vaccinations are unsafe and unjustified. Therefore, let's prioritize holistic well being and respect our body's innate healing capabilities. Therefore, as a practitioner, as a learner, as a proponent, as an advocate of Germanic healing knowledge, and as a person who leads global GHK, I am inviting all of you to learn Germanic healing knowledge or GNM or Germanic new medicine. I invite all of you to learn it, support it, and you are also invited to join our global GHK activities, its vision and its mission. Thank you once again, Karan, Saman, for this chance. I'm here to answer any further question coming from the part of the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Wonderful. We have some questions, but I think few of them have already been answered. So let me tell to our audience that since it is not entirely clear that germ theory is established, the medical science itself calls it a theory. And there are books on Louis Pasteur notes. There are many studies which suggest that Pasteur himself, who is believed to be the founder of the germ theory, was not sure of his own findings. So there are books, Louis Pasteur lab notes, and other books about the subject, and one should rethink about the microbes, the microcosmos, how it is causing a disease. One should rethink if that is not established clearly. So all the science of taking antibiotics and vaccination, preventing us from microorganism infection and all that is apparently bogus. And how can an organization claim so much? How can the whole medical system can claim so much if it is not entirely sure? They can do it because there is so much of money involved. Such a big amount of money is involved that they can basically ignore this point so that they can make trillion of dollars, which is working. It's a very big industry and it is working for them. And we should not underestimate how how evil people, how corporates, how corrupt companies have already ruined in many sectors, including education, including agriculture, how pesticides and genetically modified seeds have basically, after Green Revolution, which was like a government, led this thing, organization and mission, how after Green Revolution, most of the indigenous and heirloom variety of seeds were, removed from the mainstream growth and selling. Government and made such policies that it destroyed our agriculture, and corporations were involved, totally involved in it. So corruption is there from top to bottom in many corporate greed related systems. So we should not underestimate the greed that humanity carries. Okay. So please rethink. If you want to understand more about the cause of disease, you can ask question in the group also. And as Dr. Saab shared, the best explanation of cause of disease and root cause of illness in his 50 years of experiences, he found Germanic healing knowledge very satisfactory. Especially, he has written an article about dengue. The root cause of dengue is not what mosquitoes are doing. So I will share that article also and many more writings about the subject. Okay, in the chat, somebody has answered, what about genetic disorders? So we can talk about it towards the end of the session. And Tdap flu vaccine advised in pregnancy is totally bogus. It is not at all necessary. We never did it. We know so many parents who are not doing it. and it is not at all necessary. 10 years ago, it was not even there, I believe. And somebody is sharing depression, motor disturbance, weakness, fatigue, seizure, all are linked to vaccine. And somebody wants to know about polio vax also. Yeah, we have not given polio vaccine to any of our children. None of them has received those drops. It's a big scam. I've heard that the present strain of polio virus, if at all it is there, is vaccine induced. Okay. So whatever is happening there, it is again cause is still the vaccine itself, not the polio disease. Certain diseases come and go, humanity faces it, and it is from the design. And then they come and go. If I'm wrong, then please somebody correct me. Okay. So, Dr. Saab, I have one question for you. You shared that kids develop antibodies because they are injured by the vaccine. Is it so?
Correct. That is the stand of Germanic healing knowledge, because only conflicts can cause the deviation in the psyche, or we call it conflict. And subsequent changes happening, they are all with a biological purpose, and that should be for the benefit of the individual concerned. And therefore, in this nature, see, for those who are believing God, we can replace the word nature by God. So God has designed this all his creations not to damage or not to get destroyed or perished. So they all are given with certain programs, multiple programs. And all these programs are designed just to make the survival mechanism easier or work. So therefore, no microbe can attack any individual unless he is already having a consequential changes. And it is during the healing phase that the microbes make their presence, whether it is a mycobacteria or ordinary bacteria or fungus or virus or anything. So according to GHK, this is a revolutionary knowledge that no diseases are contagious. No diseases are contagious. So it's a revolutionary. It's a entirely what you call a game changer. That means so far nobody can believe that. Yeah, diseases are all. As if just now, just few seconds before you told that somebody catches hold of a disease comes and goes. No, no, no. It's not like that. There is nothing inimical. There is nothing malignant. And Mother Nature, we call her Mother Nature. Mother Nature is never at mistake. She will never commit mistake. Everything is designed according to the knowledge of embryology and according to the knowledge of the evolution. We can very well explain every phenomenon we include in health, disease, and cure. There is a normal way, so-called normal way of functioning, physiological, and so-called pathological. In GHK, there is no pathology. Everything is, whether it is a fever, whether it is a diabetes, whether it is a stroke, whether it is a coronary artery disease, or whether it is a mental disease or behavioral disorder, everything is
And polio.
planned and it's, pardon.
Polio.
Polio, same.
What,
Polio.
what is the stand of GHK on polio? If you can share it, because even my son, who faced a lot of devaluation in the womb,
Yeah. It's
who found it,
actually we wherever the so-called conventional medicine cannot give an exact reason for this development, polio paralysis, they attribute it to a virus. And you just imagine how many years before, because I told you, 50 years in medical science. Even when I joined medical college, it's already some 50 years went through with this polio. Then why it is not making a mutation? They say that every year, for example, you must be remembering during the COVID-19 period, within 1 or 2 years, they claim that it has undergone so many mutations. What about polio? What about chickenpox? See, when I joined the medical college, the chickenpox had the same type of eruptions. If they had some mutations, then why this is not happening now? Because the same type of eruptions happened at that time also. So there is no measles. as an epidemic or a contagious. There is no chickenpox epidemic because it is all because of certain conflicts. One is a separation conflict, and separation conflicts means a touch which I don't want to get, or I got a touch which I didn't like. That is basically the separation conflict. Similarly, there are thousands of conflicts that will affect the psyche. And following that, in order to rectify, in order to bring it back to the original, restore the original situation, body undergoes certain changes. That's all designed, all based on the knowledge of embryology. Okay.
Oh,
So it is basically, in the case of polio, what happens? Two things happens. One is the motor conflict. I am not able to discharge my function of the extremities as motoring function. Next is self-devaluation conflict. Motoring means I will not be allowed to move as I wish. That is about the muscle. The skeletal muscles are involved. The other muscles itself involved, but it is all about its nutrition. That means it will get damaged. There will be cellular destruction, and followed by, if that is continued, then the individual will go on as a paralyzed person. That is called self-devaluation conflict. There will be emaciation of the organ or the limb affected. Karan, this is not a new topic to be discussed and settled with some 30-40 members discussion or anything. This has been taken up by long, as you mentioned. It will finally limit to this very small group of Zoom participants. No, it has been done very, very, very widely, but nothing will come because the reason is what you explained very nicely. So nobody can challenge. It is that situation. I out of these for 50 years of learning, for the last 40 years, I have been very, very religiously or very interestingly, I was studying about this issue. But now I have withdrawn because I'm helpless. I'm 72 years old man. And the activists like Karan and Saman, when they come, I am here to support you. All my best wishes.
thank you. Thank you. We hope to spread this to a lot of people. So this is a wonderful insight. And so many questions must be happening within your heart when you hear that the so-called polio is not polio. It's the devaluation feeling that is being manifested, and there is so much of restriction in the moment for a child in the psyche. If it is programmed, the child will grow up to have symptoms or physical, effects like that. And if the conflict resolves, it will heal also. That's the beauty of nature. If you resolve the conflict, it may heal if there are proper minerals, if the deficiency is not there. Thank you for sharing. So I wish to pinpoint, this is the good moment, this is very right moment to pinpoint what happened during COVID scenario, where the population was mass programmed for a contagious disease, and then vaccines were sold. Okay, in for next 20-30 years, this topic can be a very strong debatable, but the point is, which I understand, and I know that Dr. Varghese will agree to it, apart from many other people, that it was the scare and lockdown that happened that suddenly frightened the masses. So to that extent, that after few days when they were resolving it, they're all together got into a fever. Like plague, like how GHK explains the plague situation. So if diseases are not contagious, why so many people at once were getting it? Because the contagion was the psyche conflict, which was not contagion through each other spreading, but it was generated out of the weakness of doubt and fear that human carries, the lack of faith that human carries. So in the lack of faith, if somebody scared them so much, oh, there is going to be a virus, there is going to be a lockdown, oh, so many people died, even though all of these news were fabricated in the beginning. There were not so many people dying anywhere. There were videos being repeated for Europe also, for America also. They were showing the same videos of hospitals just to scare the masses. So they successfully scared the masses to that extent and ended up having so much profit generated for pharmaceuticals. So, and there are so many activists who have been fighting this the Awaken India movement, Tarun Kothari and Bishrup Roy Chaudhary and other people who have been fighting, many more people, Daryl D'Souza and Paula Horan. So all those people have pointed that it is the scare tactics. But GHK is actually explaining it, isn't it, Dr. Varghese? GHK explains the plague also,
Right.
I remember.
So I strongly believe it was only explained satisfactorily by GHK.
And the GHK standpoint is because we were all so scared at once, all of us ended up having, right?
Yes, that is why the reason for the cough, it is territorial loss conflict. So territorial fear conflict. So everybody was first frightened. And when in India, for example, it was in Kerala, 1 or 2 persons had these so-called infections. They came from Italy or China, and they said that they were affected. So with the death of 2 persons out of so many millions of people or population, number one in the world, India, the death of 2 or 3 were celebrated like anything. So celebrated in quotation or inverted commas, it was scared, and followed by this respiratory distress, that is out of fear. And everybody was given to understand that it entered through the nose, and therefore it resulted in the nasal mucosa program we call, and that is why there was absence of smell sensation, anosmia, and followed by such symptoms. So every symptom that occurred during that epidemic, so-called epidemic or pandemic, can be very well explained by GHK and GHK only.
Okay, we should do a separate session on that also. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Anybody has questions very like specific to Dr. Varghese Saab, please go on.
Sir, you said that the cause is only two, embryology and you said Mother Nature does not make mistakes. Knowledge of embryology and something explains everything. What was the other thing? Embryology and
Evolution.
evolution.
You know, the human evolution, which lasted for millennium or millions of years, it is exactly replayed in the uterus in a very miniature form. So during these 40 weeks of intrauterine life, the whole process from the stage of amoeba to a full grown up human baby. So these all stages are replica of what all happened in the history of human evolution. That's a new knowledge I got from GSK only. That's why I'm telling. Northern ma'am, it's not the evolution or the embryology that is GSK, but the GSK knowledge is very much based on these two knowledge. That was what I explained. It is not that simple. It's a huge, or it's a new world opened up in front of the humanity, which we call GHK or GNM. GNM is for Germanic new knowledge, and the GHK for the we purposefully avoid this term medicine, because everybody will start misunderstanding this knowledge as what is a medicinal substance. Is it a German medicine imported or produced like that? Such a questions we wanted to avoid, because it's not at all a medical substance. It's a knowledge. That's why we renamed it as like this, GHK, because Germanic healing knowledge. Germanic simply means, just as we say Hindustani or Indian or something like that, Germanic, because it has got roots in the German literature, German culture, German civilization, etc. And it was Dr. Hahnemann, my first prophet, because I'm a homeopath, I told you. This person, second doctor, both of them were from conventional medicine area, and both of them were Germans, and both of them died on the same day. I cannot explain why it happened. On July 2nd, both of them died. So
Sorry,
when
what is the other doctor's name? One is Dr. Hahnemann and the other
the
is?
other is Dr. Ike Giat Hammer.
How do I spell the name?
I will post it in the chat box.
All right.
All details of how to learn more about the subject will be shared in the group as well. Okay, so Urmi, are you there? Ask your-
Yeah, hi, this is Urmi. Yeah, I'm here.
Please ask your question.
Yeah, so I was asking that for kids that are already vaccinated, like who didn't know, I'm asking for my niece actually. So she is already vaccinated with multiple vaccines. So is there any way to, like, get them healthy or detox, whatever you call it? Um, because she's suffering a lot from PCOS and a lot
Okay,
of
so
other
guidance.
issues.
Okay, so guidance for those who are already vaccinated. I request the panel members to please share about it.
So I will compare it to any poisoning, any chemical poisoning. Just as suppose somebody was in Delhi during those pollutions, atmospheric pollution happened few years back, or few months back. Like that, it happened. And what can be done? I'm not a person who believes in this detoxification or something like that. So you have already been poisoned. It can be an animal poison. It can be a chemical poison, anything like that. So best thing, according to me, is to give constitutional treatment. That is what we believe in homeopathy. So take his condition, how he has reacted to this poisoning, how he got scared about this thing, how his liver is dysfunctioning, or how his kidneys are affected, like that. And what are the symptoms? What is his reaction? If he is very much scared about this toxicity which he has already suffered, it will demand some selected remedies. Suppose one is not at all conscious about these things, because we all believe that the food that we take from the hotel, for example, this fast food, or from the vegetables, we cannot trust any vegetable because they are all they are all possibly contaminated. So we
Yes.
cannot live in this world without getting these sort of contaminants. So luckily, if you have not started showing any symptoms so far, and if you are telling that I was a person or I'm a person who was vaccinated, don't get scared. Just believe in God, just believe in nature. And there are so many methods of eliminating these things. Liver does the best function, kidney does the same thing, skin does the same thing. Through the urine, it passes out, through the stool, it passes out. Therefore, don't get scared because I have been vaccinated. That is my first instruction that I have got. Next, you go to, if at all you want a treatment, you approach a homeopathy doctor. A best doctor will be able to help you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
The reason for my telling is that earlier we had so many effective medicines, which I also believe we had medicines to antidote the bad effects of vaccines. But nowadays, what happens? These are not vaccines at all. These are all not vaccines. They are all immature or prematurely produced and manufactured and distributed only with the what do you call? I am not here to comment anything, illicit purpose and all. Therefore, we cannot trust what were the things that were injected into the body. You know, when there were the cases in the Supreme Court, our honorable government, central government, union government came to the Supreme Court and told we have never or we had never compelled anyone to undergo vaccination. Every one of you must be remembering how it was the people were coerced to take these vaccines. But now they are telling we didn't compel anyone, or people were supposed to know the details of bad effects that were written along with the vaccine. Do you think that a person who took the first or second dose of vaccine, they were given to understand any knowledge regarding the bad effects? None of the person vaccinated was given the instruction, this vaccination has got this and this and this side effects. Then after starting the increased incidence of death, they said, no, it won't create. all these heart attack patients, all the young persons who collapse and die, hey, that has got nothing to do with the vaccines. Everybody, every common man, every layman knows that my neighbor who was a 30-year-old boy, that film star who was during acting, or that sports star, sportsman who was playing, and his health was okay, but he collapsed and died. You, every one of you will be having experiences of such things. No, I am asking Karan. It's not regarding the success stories or bad effects of vaccines to be taken. Is there any study that has happened about the young persons who collapsed after taking these vaccines? No. Every small village has got a lot of stories to tell about the young people who continue to die, and everyone believes that it was all because of these vaccines. Because these are chemicals. This is not vaccines. I don't call it is, because an mRNA vaccine is not a vaccine. It is prematurely pumped into the population for the ulterior motives already explained by Karen. And these bad effects are happening. The toxins are being acting or on the system, and they are all producing protein because they are all chemicals pumped into the system. I have not taken vaccines. My wife has not taken. My two children were not vaccinated. My grandchild also was not vaccinated. Thank you.
Thank you for your presence. Tarun?
Yeah, thank you, Karan, and thank you, Varghese ji, for nice explanation. This question is just out of curiosity. So, homeopathy, I believe, as little as I understand, is more about like cures like. And if we take that aspect, then many of the allopathic vaccines are also designed on the similar principle. That is my understanding about the some allopathic vaccines also. So if that is the case, is it okay to take those vaccines which are designed based on this principle, or you think that might also not be a correct thing to do? Thank you.
Very well clarify your doubts, Mr. Tarun. It is a total misunderstanding about homeopathy. Homeopathy is a dynamic science. That means we don't administer any so-called chemicals. Of course, there are practitioners who use a lot of mother tinctures, which are actually just like Ayurvedic medicines. They are all material doses. But in a sense, homeopathy is not about giving a material thing. They are subjected to a process called potentization, which we call, or dynamization, we call. If it's a material thing, for example, a mineral, that will be powdered, and one part will be taken again, one out of the dilution process, which will take much time. So when it is diluted to such a it will goes beyond the nano size, the original material substance. Because my colleagues recently claimed that homeopathy is very scientific because it has or they have detected nanoparticles in few of the low potency medicines like 30 potency, Merxol 30 or Nux Omega 30, like that. No, it is not there that homeopathy really works. It is about your mind. Can you say your mind, where is it existing, Tarun? Where is it located?
No, because mind, I think, is beyond the material. So,
correct.
Then we can
correct.
understand,
Then,
but mind,
then you can, I don't know, I'm meeting Tarun for the first time. Suppose you are married, or you leave your case. Someone has married to a lady, and that lady eloped, or she ran away with another guy. Question is whether that will affect the husband or not. Or husband has gone with another lady. Will it affect the lady concerned? Definitely no. There are thousands of conflicts happening at every time. So that will give some symptoms in that. Somebody will go to hang himself. Somebody will kill himself. Somebody will, oh, it's okay. Let her go and enjoy like that. He will be having other relations. So these aspects are taken into consideration. and how subjectively he is reacting to this situation, then we will select a medicine according to that particular type of reaction. So reaction comes after the perception. That particular perception will be understood. We have got a theory called miasmatic theory, and it's very scientific. And according to the miasm theory, which I have been propagating as a homeopathy doctor, and I'm practicing classical homeopathy. I'm a student of late Dr. Praful Vijayakar. I have undergone his classes and all. So I am working in this predictive homeopathy along with GNM. So according to this is a wrong idea to tell and claim that vaccination is similar to homeopathy or not like that. No, in homeopathy there is no material thing. Just as I was asking you about the mind, homeopathy's potencies or its dynamic actions are not yet discovered or elicited by any of the laboratories anywhere in this world. And that is the reason the so-called antagonists or opponents of homeopathy always say that homeopathy is a pseudoscience. We don't mind because we don't claim that it's a material science. It is a dynamic knowledge. And therefore, it is similia similibus curantur is nature's law of cure. And after learning this nature's law of cure, similia similibus curantur, similibum theory, I specialized in GHK, and that is why I can say that these additional 5 biological laws very well explains the causation. Yes, thank you.
Even shower gel ले सकते हैं
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Urmi, can you mute yourself? And Arisha, Javid. Okay, thank you. No problem. Okay, and as I was sharing that many people have inspired us with their presence. So we have Reba here, we have Saifi sir here. We also have Dr. Ahmed, who is a very old homeopath from Old Delhi. And Ahmed साहब ने decide किया उस जमाने में many years ago अपने बच्चों को वैक्सीनेट नहीं करने का. तो अहमद साहब अगर आप सुन रहे हैं, अगर आप अनम्यूट करके अपना वीडियो ऑन करके हमसे बात करना चाहें, मैंने बहुत शॉर्ट नोटिस पे आपको इनवाइट भेजा है, बट मैं खुश हूं कि आप यहाँ हैं. तो अहमद साहब, आप अभी बोलने के लिए प्रिपेयर्ड हैं तो प्लीज अनम्यूट करके हमसे शेयर कीजिए. मेरे पास कुछ सवाल हैं जो मैं लोगों के सामने आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, ताकि उनके जवाबों से और लोग भी ठीक से समझ सके कि ये टॉपिक है क्या. अहमद साहब. आज उन्होंने पहली बार इस तरीके से ज्वाइन किया है, तो थोड़ा सा इशू आ रहा होगा. रिबा, am I audible to you? Riba, are you there?
Yeah, Karan, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear
Thank
me?
you for your presence. I correctly remember when we were very, yeah.
ऑडियो
Okay, डॉक्टर. हाँ, डॉक्टर अहमद साहब, आपकी आवाज आ रही है.
ये मेरे पास आर्टिकल आया था
जी जी
2006 में. उसमें
जी.
डाटा था कि डिफरेंट स्टेट्स में पोलियो वैक्सीन देने के बावजूद बच्चे पोलियो का शिकार हो गए. हालांकि इससे पहले वो तंदुरुस्त थे. दैनिक जागरण न्यूज़पेपर है, 7 जून 2005 की न्यूज. बिहार में विवेंद्र कुमार लड़का जिसकी उम्र 7 साल थी, पोलियो की वैक्सीन देने के बावजूद पोलियो हो गया. दैनिक जागरण 30 मई. शांतिनगर भिवंडी महाराष्ट्र, तौफीक 5 साल. और थाड़ीपार इलाके की भाग्यश्री 3 साल. 15 मई को पोलियो डोज दी गई, फिर भी उन दोनों को पोलियो हो गया. ये न्यूज़पेपर 26 मई. 2 बूंद जिंदगी की पीने के बावजूद महाराजगंज जिला आजमगढ़ यूपी गांव की चिरंटी की 4 साल खुशबू पोलियो का शिकार हो गई. आज दोनों पैर से माजूर है. हिंदी टाइम्स 7 में, सहरसा बिहार के बच्चे को पोलियो ने पकड़ लिया। जब इसकी माँ शांता देवी ने बताया कि जब भी बूंद वाली दवा पिलाने लोग आए, मैं अपने बच्चों को जरूर पिलाती थी। दैनिक जागरण 18 मई 2005। पोलियो खत्म करने के लिए 2005 की लिमिट तय की गई थी, मगर इस स्कीम को इस वक्त झटका लगा जब पोलियो के 2 नए मामलों का इंकशाफ हुआ। बिहार पूरे इंडिया की अकेली स्टेट है जहां 2003 में पोलियो अफेक्टेड लोगों की तादाद 18 थी, सिर्फ 18 2003 में, और 2004 में बढ़कर 41 हो गई। टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया 18 मार्च। तो ये बहुत सारे केसेस हैं, इसमें बहुत टाइम लग जाएगा, मैं इसको भेज दूंगा। तो इसमें पूरा इसमें डिटेल बताया गया है। ये आज से 20-22 साल पहले की डाटा है, और ये स्कीम है किस तरह लोगों को नुकसान पहुंचाया जाए। ये बाकायदा प्लानिंग के तहत ये काम हो रहा है। तो इससे हमें बचना चाहिए। और इसमें जिन्हें जो मेडिसिन इस्तेमाल करी जाती हैं, इसमें मंकीज, रैट्स और इस तरह के जो जानवर होते हैं, पिग्स वगैरह, इनके बैक्टीरिया लेकर, ये उनकी किडनी से लेकर ये मेडिसिन बनाई जाती है।
जी जी, बहुत बहुत
और
शुक्रिया।
ये हाँ, एशियन कंट्रीज में क्यों है, बाहरी कंट्रीज में क्यों नहीं है? यूरोप में इधर सिर्फ एशियन कंट्रीज में ये पोलियो की स्कीम चलाई जाती है। और भी बहुत सारी डिटेल है, आपका टाइम
जी
ज्यादा लग जाएगा। ये 2005 में अमेरिका में 2 बूंद पिलाने पर पाबंदी लग गई थी। ये 2005 के रिपोर्ट है, लेकिन बात अदर कंट्रीज में फिर भी चालू रहा है।
जी, तो आपने अपने बच्चों को मतलब काफी साल पहले ही, ये खबरों
हाँ
से
हाँ
पहले से ही
हाँ,
फैसला ले चुके थे कि आप नहीं करेंगे, तो आपके
बिल्कुल।
फैसले की बुनियाद क्या थी? बीइंग ए होम्योपैथी डॉक्टर, आपको पढ़ाया तो नहीं जा रहा था, सिलेबस का
हाँ,
पार्ट तो ये है नहीं, तो आपके
बिल
फैसले की बुनियाद क्या बनी और कैसे आपने उस वक्त आपके क्या क्या पॉइंट्स थे जो आप हमसे शेयर करना चाहेंगे?
नहीं, ये एक इंसान हेल्दी है, तंदुरुस्त है, उसकी बॉडी में अननेसेसरी क्यों यानी बैक्टीरिया दाखिल किए जाएं, क्यों यानी बीमारी को उसकी डाला जाए वैक्सीन के जरिए से? नेचुरली जब खुदा ने बनाया है इंसान को, ऑर्डर में बनाया है, क्यों उसको डिस्टर्ब किया जाए? उसकी बॉडी की बनावट को, उसकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को क्यों खराब किया जाए? तब से मेरे दिल में ये बात थी, और मैंने अपने बच्चों को कोई वैक्सीनेशन नहीं कराई। और मैंने चारे बच्चे तंदुरुस्त हैं, अच्छे हैं। और एक बच्ची जिसको वैक्सीन लग गई थी शुरू में, वो बीमार हो जाती है चाहे जब। और मैं अपने पेशेंट्स को भी ये बोलता हूँ कि बिल्कुल वैक्सीन ना लगवाएं। जो जिनके बच्चों के वैक्सीन नहीं लगते, और डॉक्टर्स में बहुत कम आते जाते हैं, डॉक्टर्स की फीस बचती है, उनकी हेल्थ अच्छी रहती है। और जिन बच्चों के वैक्सीन लगते हैं, बहुत सारे केस ऐसे हुए कि ऑटिज्म नोट किया गया है कि, और यानी वैक्सीनेशन के बाद बच्चों में ऑटिज्म पैदा हुआ, और कई सारे डिसीज ऐसे सामने आए कि स्लो हो गए, मेंटली रिटार्डेड हो गए। बहुत से बच्चे ऐसे भी सामने आए जो उससे पहले तंदुरुस्त थे, अच्छे खासे खेलते कूदते थे, लेकिन वैक्सीनेशन के बाद यानी माइंड, इनके हेल्थ पर असर पड़ा उनकी। कई सारे केसेस ऐसे मैंने देखे बाद में। तो
जी,
मैं
तो
तो शुक्र करता
आप अपनी
हूँ।
प्रैक्टिस में ये लगातार क्या सवाल करते हैं पेशेंट से और उनसे फीडबैक लेते रहते हैं कि बच्चे को वैक्सीन लगा या नहीं लगा? ये
हाँ,
आपकी
पूछते
प्रैक्टिस
हैं।
का एक कोर पार्ट रहता है, जैसे कि मैंने देखा है।
हाँ, होम्योपैथी में बिल्कुल इसके लिए आफ्टर वैक्सीनेशन एग्रीवेशन आफ्टर, ये बाकायदा यानी रूब्रिक्स हमारे मौजूद है, ये सिम्टम मौजूद है, फला बीमारी आफ्टर वैक्सीनेशन। तो वैक्सीनेशन के टॉपिक से बहुत सारी मेडिसिन हमारी यहाँ हैं जिसकी वैक्सीनेशन के बाद जो तकलीफें हुई।
जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू। थैंक यू। हम जल्द ही या अगले संडे ही कोशिश करेंगे कि ऐसे कुछ केसेस जिसमें आपने
हाँ
क्लियरली देखा है कि ये वैक्सीन की बात से ये तकलीफ आई, और फिर उसके बाद
हाँ
अगर आपने उपचार की कोशिश की है या किसी तरीके से उन्हें मिनरलाइज करने की कोशिश की है या ध्यान देने की कोशिश की है कि उनके बच्चों में थोड़ा सा सुधार आए, तो कुछ
हाँ
ऐसे केसेस का इम्प्रूवमेंट, स्पेशली ऑटिस्टिक रिलेटेड सिम्टम्स, उस पे
हाँ
थोड़ी सी हम चर्चा करेंगे कि क्या उनमें इम्प्रूवमेंट पॉसिबल है जिन्होंने ऑलरेडी वैक्सीन लगा लिए हैं। उस बारे में
हाँ
थोड़ी हम और चर्चा अगले संडे जरूर करेंगे।
जी जी, अस्थमा आफ्टर वैक्सीनेशन, emaciation after vaccination, eruption after vaccination, paralysis after vaccination, ये डिफरेंट
वाह
रूब्रिक्स
वाह।
हैं हमारे यहाँ।
जी मतलब आप बहुत ही अच्छे से, आपको ये शुरू से क्लियर है कि ये सारी चीजों से बहुत ही एविडेंटली नुकसान है। मतलब डिनाई
हाँ
नहीं किया जा सकता कि भाई वैक्सीन लगाया तो उसके बाद नुकसान बहुत ज्यादा कॉमन है।
जी हाँ जी हाँ जी, बिल्कुल।
बहुत 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 शुक्रिया, थैंक
वेलकम।
यू। किसी के लिए, डॉक्टर अहमद साहब के लिए कोई सवाल है दिल में या किसी को कुछ कहने का मन है तो आप 5 मिनट सवाल कर सकते हैं। उसके बाद में रिबा, अगर आप अभी भी मौजूद है, रिबा इफ यू स्टिल देयर, ओके आई कैन सी यू। यस, अहमद साहब का वीडियो भी हमें दिख रहा है, ये अभी अपने क्लिनिक से है। ओल्ड दिल्ली में, पुरानी दिल्ली में इनका क्लिनिक है, और ऑनलाइन भी वी कैन गेट सपोर्ट अहमद साहब से भी और डॉक्टर वर्गीस से भी। ठीक है। Reba, I met Reba many years ago when we were young parents, and I was very inspired by her take on the subject of vaccination. I remember how she has chosen not to do it many years ago. Her daughter is much elder to our daughter, and she has been a very good guide throughout. Reba was also present as a educator during our first birth. Reba, I want you to share your views about the subject. Thank you.
So for me, making this decision came from a very different, it was not from understanding a certain philosophy of medicine, or for me it was, I started with a very common sense question, because that was the question in my mind. And that was, which route of immunity do I want to choose? And that was the first time I had to really think about. This was in 2006, 2007. So it was the first time that I even spent time thinking about, okay, so there is a certain thing called natural immunity, or there is a system that actually runs the body, which is something that I think through education or over education or toxic education, we are groomed to forget that there is a certain thing called, like what Dr. Verghese was saying, there is a thing called Mother Nature, or there is a design, there is an inherent design of the body. So coming back to that was my turning point. So understanding that there is, regardless of what is the cause of the illness. So I know there are many.
Dr. Ahmed, you have to mute yourself. Ahmed साहब आप अपना म्यूट कर
सॉरी
लीजिएगा
सॉरी सॉरी सॉरी।
लेफ्ट बॉटम से, नो प्रॉब्लम। ओके, गो ऑन।
So I think for me, it was even when I'm working with all the mothers for immunity and all of the conversations, what I find the most powerful about the body is that the body doesn't need to know the name of the disease. The body doesn't have to contemplate whether germ theory is true. The body does not have to contemplate whether a virus exists or not. The body doesn't have to know whether 5G caused COVID. The body doesn't even want to know whether it was collective fear. Right? These are all the ways for the mind to understand and for us to settle into ways of perception. And there are many ways and many angles of understanding this. I think that is simply because we are many different human beings at very different stages of evolution, personally, individually. So I personally find it okay that believe whichever theory, right? And you can keep changing your mind the more you understand. But the bottom line is that the body doesn't care which theory you believe. The body doesn't have any prejudice, whether you called it a microbe or a virus or a bacteria, or that is all for our mind to understand. Regardless of what is going on, the body still knows what to do with it, was the powerful base on which, and even today, where I stand. And I do believe that all illness is from the frequency change. Whether we're talking about separation, it begins emotionally. But practically speaking, it's very difficult for a general one human being to go and stand there in that place. Right? Because the body is the one that is the vehicle. The body is the one that is exhibiting the symptoms. So I find it very practical to, okay, let's just look at the body itself. And no matter what is the theory behind it, and then people who actually start taking this route of understanding or connecting back to the body, they slowly go back to the deeper layers. So this is why I really like that place of, let's meet the body where the body is at. As a very practical, functional, daily life approach. And that process takes us deeper. So for me, understanding that the body still knows, the body can, the body knows what to do if you give it the right environment. And that belief for me came from my earlier journey with birth itself. So if the body knows how to gestate, knows how to conceive, right, and gestate a baby, and knows how to birth a baby, unless the body is, in rare occasions, unless the body is showing symptoms that it's running through some problems, there is really no need to jump in and interfere inherently. There doesn't need to be a setting or an approach or a belief that the minute something is happening, we have to step in, right? And birth is a primary example of that for me. And that experience itself moved on into having the same approach for wellness or healing or recovery or illness, or whichever side you're looking at it. So that was the basis of my thought process in 2007. And on the basis of that, then of course, there is so much data, right? There is zero data to show that any vaccine is safe. And there is zero data to show that any vaccine is effective. So something that is not proven to be safe or effective, nobody can guarantee to me that if I inject my child with this, it actually protects her from whatever illness they're claiming that it will. And nobody can guarantee to me that there will be no side effects. Then with what confidence do I proceed and put something directly into bloodstream that has not even encountered any of the mucosal systems, any of the first defense mechanisms, right? Because anything that we encounter, it comes either from the water, then it'll be in the stomach, we'll poop it out, we'll puke it out if it's not right, or the body will raise the temperature, it will try to eliminate it from the system itself. So when something is not safe or effective, with what confidence can I directly inject that into my child's bloodstream? That did not make any sense to me logically. And no matter how much research I did, I could not find any guarantees of safety or efficacy. Whereas on the other hand, there was enough for me when I really went in depth into the immune system itself. There was enough stuff to give me the confidence that it doesn't matter what the body is encountering. If I create the right field, so that's environment and frequency, if that is maintained to the best of our ability, again, there is no perfection. But even if we are doing it to the best of our ability, still there is a pathway, there is a process, there is an intelligence, there is a creative intelligence that's running this system. And at the end of that, I chose to trust that creative intelligence over something that has, ingredients that I'm not even allowed to read, and the inserts I don't even know, and put it directly into a child's blood. Because blood is life. Blood is data. Blood carries a lot of data that runs our systems also. And if I contaminate the basic data, again, this goes into the metaphysical, spiritual realms also when we keep talking about it. But even if you look at it just with the body as a filter or as the mechanism to just talk, debate, discuss, even on that layer itself, it still holds true. So those are the reasons why I chose not to. And my daughter is now 17. And
Congratulations.
we have observed a lot of stuff from her falling ill, her recovery. All of that has taught me that that was a choice that I will never regret, to not vaccinate. That was a choice I will never regret.
Not. Thank you. I remember you sharing that how she used to break bones and get healed on fractures and all. Also, if she has like twisted fingers, then you would go to a
Yes.
local.
And I would take her to a local bone setter, like when she's playing, or if she's broken her finger and all that. And apart from broken bones, I think the fever and recovery, whatever you're encountering, I always observed that it's, there are 3 types. There are 3-day illnesses, there are 5-day illnesses, and sometimes there are 7-day. And the older a child gets, because there are rites of passage as the body grows. So once we actually equip ourselves to understand that, and once we start to trust, especially for mothers, once mothers start to trust their observational capacity and intuitive capacity, because in the mothers, and I work mostly with mothers, which is why I'm saying this angle. The mother's frequency can tap into the child's frequency very keenly. A mother can look into the child's eyes and know if, no, something is off, or she's just sick and she's getting better. Or mother can see in the child's eyes, I can wait with this. The biggest problem is that women who are having children are not in mother mode. Doesn't matter what number of children. It's really, it's not a criticism, it's a sad observation that the feminine powers or gifts itself, or a mother becoming maiden to mother. And I know many mothers who have children, lots of children, but they're still in maiden mode. Mother is something else. And when we interfere with birth, we interfere with that person, that individual growing into mother. When that person does not grow into mother, we all suffer collectively. And one of the first signs is that this woman does not know how to trust. And the mothers who do this, right? We are animals in that level, in that layer, right? If I smell my child's breath, I know if something is wrong. I can smell a mucus buildup in the child. When the mother smells a child's poop, we know what is happening. We are animals on that layer of our existence. But if we are keeping on becoming disconnected from our primal gifts, from our primal selves, which is Mother Nature itself, then of course we rely on somebody else who's the expert. And again, I do believe that as a collective, human beings, as we are evolving, like in our 20s, we do need somebody to rely on. We need an older person, a wiser person. But what is happening now is, instead of relying on someone who has had experience, who is talking a philosophy that makes sense to us, our experts are the ones who have a framed certificate on the wall, who have again learned something from books and have never lived it. And therefore, this expertise is very suspect for me. We have lost our capacity to be able to lean on somebody older. It's very rare to find a wiser, older person in our communities. Right? This is the way that we learn to rely on the primal. This is how all collectives used to evolve, right? And we actually glorify the village now because we don't have elders. Village also means that there are elders. So this dysfunction is seen everywhere, and this particular, the decimation, this disconnection from our true selves, our deeper selves, our raw selves, our primal selves. This is one of the biggest factors that disconnects us from wellness.
Yes,
because we don't know how to go back to, we don't know how to trust our intuition. We don't have elders to support us during the journey. And then, over a few years, our own experience makes us bolder, more courageous. That whole process has been hijacked. And the immune system, or this, lack of wellness, trusting a vaccine over trusting the immune system or natural immunity. These are all the results of that particular core problem that exists in a society, is what I feel. Because what I encounter is, when you say that vaccines are not right, or there is a parent who reads the inserts, they immediately understand. The problem is not with our understanding. It's very easy to understand. Logically, we can understand this. The challenge is living it. Because I understand this is bad, but when my child's fever goes to 103, I panic. Right? Because the data I've been raised on is wrong. Till 50, 60 years ago, 102 fever is normal when there's a fever. Last week, there was a 3-month-old baby who's having the first fever ever, not vaccinated baby. And they are way away in Andhra Pradesh. And they're checking fever. Fever has gone to 104.8, but it is regulating, it's still regulating. But that 3 days that those parents had to trust. And I do not like advising a parent what to do. Because the fundamental of wellness is it's an inner journey. We have to be very honest and meet ourselves where we are. If I have fear, I have to meet my fear. I don't need to prove anything by not going to the hospital. I firmly believe
it cannot
this.
happen. It cannot happen with motivation. The person has to be inspired from within.
Or data also. A
The right
lived
information can cause.
experience is much more. Yeah. We live the experience either when we have so much confidence, even through self-doubt, and what reinforces it is somebody else who has also lived. Data is still
So
data.
there is a jump. Yes, there is a jump of consciousness that allows a woman to choose the reality, even though she understands this is the reality, but she's not able to manifest it. She's not able to choose it for herself. That's what she said. So I, in past few years, realized after meeting the studies of Dr. Fazlul Rahman that faith is a totally different state of mind, which has its own biological system, which is different, different from a confident state of mind. A person on a confident state of mind constantly needs, answer to his doubts and constant, reminders on the right path, like an external motivation. But when the fever comes 103, it is gone. They panic. So it is only the faith state of mind which will help you intuitively with any reason. You can call it data, you can call it experiences of my cousin, or any experience you have in your life, which will allow you to choose a path which is good for the body, a wiser path. It starts with the state of mind of faith.
Yeah, this is
Right?
what I refer to. In my words, I call it frequency. What is the frequency you're going to inhabit?
So frequency is ultimate.
And that
on
is
the map
something
of
that is not given. It is something that is cultivated.
Cultivated throughout the life. Yes, we have realized this. That
You have
is
to
why we have
work on it
decided
and
not to.
cultivate it.
Yeah. So if kids are sent to schools, they miss their teenage where they get to work on their nerves. In Islamic study, it is very evidently shared that we are all born with the weakness of the nerves, the individual ego. And the ego has to have experiences throughout his life so that it can understand itself and finally have faith. So all these experiences of teenage are eliminated or are taken away from us, where we can have faith. And if it goes into the education system, like 21 years, all women are into schools, and suddenly they get married and then they are having children. Now people say you are on your own. Okay. So, and I realized there are tools that women can use. There are therapists, there are healers who can help women to work on their core, especially a Reiki healer, Dr. Paula Horan. She uses EFT to do core empowerment. She allows people to work on their nerves, and then women will feel empowered at the core. And I think after that, according to Dr. Bruce Lipton also, whatever your belief system is, your biology will complement. With your biological expression will be like that. Okay, so in coming Sundays, we will try to explore these subjects of faith healing and the state of mind of faith. Thank you, Riba, for sharing your experience. It was wonderful.
Thank you,
it was very enlightening for many people. Somebody has questions for you. They recently commented. Please unmute and talk, whoever wants to talk.
Assalamu alaikum. So basically, I have two questions. अच्छा, तो one of them is कि जब मेरे बेबी बॉर्न हुई तब हमने डिसाइड किया था कि हमें बेसिक वैक्सीनेशन तो नहीं लगवानी है, लेकिन then we both spouses ended up कि हम at least K shot की तरफ जाएंगे. So I wanted to know that I want to know more about K-shot. How important is that? कि अगर वो लगना ही चाहिए या आगे babies के लिए transfer करें. एक ये चीज. And the other question is how, why is it shown necessary कि हमें जो है वो जो पोलियो ड्रॉप्स है वो हर महीने ही लेके जाने के, लाइक बाकी जो वैक्सीनेशन होती हैं वो यूजुअली कुछ मंथ्स बाद होती हैं, वो एक फिक्स टाइम पे होती हैं, लेकिन ये जो मंथली पोलियो ड्रॉप वाला चीज है इसके पीछे इसकी बेसिस क्या है? अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैंने अपने बेबी को इससे दूर रखा, दोनों चीजों से, वैक्सीनेशन पोलियो से, लेकिन एवरी single month, this is a huge struggle to keep my baby away from those polio drops because the campaigns are there and stuff now. So I just wanted to know कि इसके पीछे क्या basis है every month वाले इसकी, and the other thing was कि K-shots के पीछे क्या background क्या है?
You want to?
So I heard the part about the polio, but what was the other question?
About the K-shots, जो K-shots जो
shots.
birth पे लगते हैं, K-shots, K for kangaroo.
Vitamin K.
Yeah, तो वो how important are they? क्योंकि मैंने अपने बेबी को बर्थ पे वैक्सीन नहीं लगवाया, लेकिन हम we ended up we
Taking
were
the vitamin K.
Yeah, exactly. My baby took the K-shot.
K-shots, no?
I wanted to know how important is that, and
So the vitamin K shot, the origin of that actually is linked to circumcision itself. Because babies that were, and again, I have a feeling from all of my research, I've been a birth worker for 17 years. From my research, I do believe it's also linked to formula-fed babies. Because if a baby has a surgery, or, there are very rare conditions where they might have bleeding. So this is all from data. I have never encountered a baby who is born normally and suddenly has bleeding in the brain. But the whole concept of the vitamin K is that when a baby is born, until the mother's milk comes through, there is no vitamin K available to that baby's body for the first few hours. And a lack of vitamin K is associated with, vitamin K is needed to, control any sort of bleeding. Now, the reasons that vitamin K came to be widely used at every birth is actually about finances or the pharmaceutical industry. Because vitamin K comes through when the mother's milk comes. So it is only about scaremongering for the first few hours, is what I believe. And there are a lot of parents who choose not to take the vitamin K and everything is fine for the baby. So vitamin K itself being widely used is connected to the rare eventuality of bleeds, but it is used for all the children, which does not compute. Vitamin K, when it goes inside the child's body, there is still a lot of burden on the child's body to screen it out, to, flush out the adjuvants, all that. The burden is definitely there on the child's body. The wide use of vitamin K is also, that seems to be used, associated with Jewish babies. There was a time where Jewish boys are circumcised, and what they noticed about, in certain cases after circumcision, there was a lot of bleeding. These were the events in history that caused vitamin K to come as a big, important thing. So these are the associations in the background. The fact is that as soon as the mother's milk comes through, there is vitamin K in the milk that helps the baby. And there is a lot of significance about why is there no vitamin K for that particular amount of time, which is something interesting to explore. Similar to why does a mother's HB drop around 7? When mother's HB drops around the 7th, 8th month, there is long-term association to positive impacts in postpartum bleeding. Now, these are all, if you're going to the studies, these are all new studies that are emerging, that have been emerging in the past few years. But if you go back to body wisdom itself, there seems to be an intelligence running the whole thing. So you can see it either from a data perspective, or you can come back to the body and also understand that whatever the body does in its intelligence, it has been going on for centuries in the same physiology. And you can, rest your case in either one, whichever one gives you more assurance. You can stand there and trust it. The polio drops, the reason that polio is repetitively given is because obviously the previous one was not effective enough to guarantee you efficacy. So they have to top it up. That was your specific question. Why do they keep giving it every month? Because the previous dose was not effective enough. They have to keep topping it up. Even according to their logic, they have to keep topping it up. That is why the repetition happens.
And throughout the session, we have simply said that there is no need to vaccination. But Riba is pointing out that you have to do your own research and reach to a point where you can also see all of it. Otherwise, no matter how many times all the data has been presented, you will still find a reason to create more doubt and then miss the chance to express faith in the body. So all the questions, if vitamin D drops are necessary, if we should give vaccination to a genetically disorder, deep down, bottom line is there is no need of medicine at all if you are practically aware of your body. Your body is capable of producing infection as medicine if needed. If there is vitamin D deficiency, amoebiasis, stomach infection so-called, will help you to cope up with that. Okay, and we will go into details next Sunday about certain topics, but deep down I wish to tell our viewers that we don't need any form of medicine if we are aware. And homeopaths will agree to it. And the medicine that homeopathy is giving is also at the quantum level. It's the spirit. It's a spirit and a state of mind that, even water holds memory. So it's a memory of a spirit which is going inside your body. Okay. It's not a material medicine at all.
I just want to add one thing. In the practical living of a decision, the actual thing to work on is the cultivation of the faith or the trust. And cultivation of trust is very dependent on knowing how to work with your mind. So you need the data, but even the data is not enough. To cultivate trust requires deeper levels of engagement. And I always want to tell mothers, don't trust anybody until you cultivate your trust in what you believe. Again, it's belief. That is not sacrosanct. That's what I believe at this point of time. A belief system can always change or update. But you will not feel secure if you're saying, for example, that I didn't vaccinate my child because Karan had many good reasons. Right? That is not you cultivating your faith. The reason we share our stories is to share our perspectives and where we came from. Many, many theories, many, many philosophies. You are free to go and embrace that which makes the most sense to you at this point of time. And if you want to change your mind after 2 years, go ahead and go and vaccinate your child. But you have to stand where you stand. That is the human experience. And that is how we deepen our engagement with the world, with the people around us. And so the point I always feel is there is no right way and there is no wrong way. But there is definitely an authenticity of you meeting yourself. That's the core. Then you know where to stand inside you. And when we are making decisions that don't make sense to 99% of the people around us, there is only that place to stand. That is security. That is assurance. And there is a need to cultivate that. Then initially through thought. Hi, Chidu. Through thought. But later then the development of that trust, cultivation of that trust, because our experience itself will show us and reinforce, okay, I made the right choice. Right? When my daughter was, between the age of newborn to 1, I did not have this much trust. I just had okay, this makes sense. I got to do this because the other pathway does not make sense to me. That's where I was standing and I followed that. It's on hindsight that I realized, it's the experience of living it that helped me to cultivate that trust. It's the experience of actually being there and having those experiences that helps me to see how I can speak to another parent. So there is process initially, and then you will be able to reach trust. So remember that it's not based on somebody's words. You going through the process is your upgrade for this life experience.
Thank you.
Hi, Reba.
Thank you. Hi, Saman.
Hi. I just joined and I was with the kids. How are you?
I'm good.
I would now like to invite some mothers. In fact, we have Urmi. Urmi, are you there? Urmi, would you like to share your perspective? Congratulations. You're expecting your first baby now. And you also told me that your parents did not vaccinate you. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about your ideas and your insight.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Aman. Thanks. Hello to everyone. Yeah, the thing is that my parents didn't vaccinate me, and my mother. I was actually born in a hospital because of a different reason, but she was out of the medical system, so to say, with interventions and all. I was just born in a hospital with zero interventions. Because of some mishap in my mother's family, she had to go there, and they sent her to the hospital. Basically, that was not the plan. Anyway, so thing is, I have my father practices homeopathy. He's not a registered doctor, but he does practice it for a long, long time now. And we have been tried to stay out of the conventional modern medicine thing as far as we could. And when I knew about my pregnancy, I knew the only way I can go is the natural way. And then I found out that it's so medicalized right now. It's almost impossible to have a natural birth. Most doctors even do not understand the difference between a natural birth and a normal delivery. In fact, the only goal they seem to have in mind is a vaginal delivery, no matter what interventions they have to take. And their goal is basically to have, give you a, you have the mother is alive, the baby is alive. I have done my job. So that is when I started searching about how to go about natural delivery, or even stay out of the system. Basically, being in the system is not an option for me at all. I know how vaccinations are damaging things, and recent vaccinations, it is like shot up. When we were born, it was still like 2 or 3, like BCG, polio, and that's it. I still didn't have those, but and nobody pushed parents that much. And nowadays, if a baby is born, it's not just the hospital or the government, it's even the families. Everyone is like asking, did you get this, did you get that? And then there are parent groups, and people would be like forcing, that why didn't you do this? One another of my friend, her daughter is like now 9 years old. She also chose not to vaccinate her kid, and she was basically shouted at every place, like in a doctor's chamber, in families and friends, everyone, like she's doing some some grave mistake and all. And but she fought, and she's a hero. So I am inspired by her also. But recently, when I was talking to her, that how did you do it, she was like, yeah, I just quarreled with everyone. So that's the choice we have, like mothers and parents. I really need to understand how this thing, like I am scared for my baby. If I have to transfer to a hospital, and I don't know, I'll have to fight, I'll have to quarrel with everyone. I just need a support group for that. I just, and thankfully I found a lot of support, which I didn't think I would find. And I'm still finding, still searching, still learning. And thank you so much for including me here. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. I know I blabbered a lot, but yeah, that's all in my mind.
Absolutely not. Thank you so much. Thank you, Urmi. When are
Yeah.
you due? When are you having your baby?
Mid-March, I guess.
Okay, inshallah. And are you planning for a home birth? Are you?
Yeah, I'm definitely planning for a home birth, and I'm talking to people. I talked to Tapasya, I think, and she'll be supporting me, and also Sonali, I'm actually in Pune right now. So I'm talking to, and I also talked to, no, you told me about her. So I'm also talking to her. Maybe we'll meet up sometime.
Okay,
So just being part of the group, and that feels great right now.
Alhamdulillah. Safi sir, Assalamu alaikum. I see you. Are you can you share a little bit?
Hello, Saman. Nice to see you and Karan after a long, long time. How are you all?
Good, good. Alhamdulillah, we are all well. We would love to hear from you. Safi sir is the author of the book called Zero Medicine Wisdom, inspired by the work of Dr. Fazlur Rahman. Safi sir, I'd love for you to share a little bit about what you have found and how, regarding this. And also, your daughter just had a baby, which
Yeah, Zainab
Alhamdulillah,
is now the baby is 4 months old. Yes.
4 months old, mashallah. So, has she also chosen not to vaccinate the child?
No, she seems to be. There are the people over here. They use the term mandatory. So,
Okay.
going by the term mandatory, she and her husband are fulfilling the mandatory. I don't know how to legally deal with this concept of mandatory. So I guess that's how it is.
So I actually
and
have to
and
ask
and
you two questions. The first part is going to be easy for you in terms of explaining a little bit what you feel about this whole vaccine. We have an idea. But also, the hardest battles are the ones that you have to fight with the people you love and care about, and the people who are all well-meaning and they say that they care for you, but there is a difference of opinion. So in such a scenario, how do you stand your ground and speak your truth? And because I'm very close to my mother and my parents, and I know that they love me. But when it comes to certain decisions about how I want to bring my children to the world and how I want to raise them, if I don't want to give them a medicine when they are running a temperature of 105, sometimes even getting a febrile seizure, and nobody can see the child, and you're so vulnerable at that moment. But how do you and it must be difficult for you also to see in that sense your daughter taking a different stand because of whatever reason. So how do you cope up with those emotions? That'll be part two of the question I wanted to ask.
yeah, it is not just daughters. For us, the entire humanity, one who are getting deviated by the materialistic world. So as long as you begin to start enjoying material, the material also deviates you. So if you know the verse, "Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in," I rely only on you and I adhere only to you. Now, most people acknowledge that supreme being is there, which is universal caretaker and individual caretaker. That means you and me are part of this nature, and the whole nature is his creation. So if he is the protector and sustainer of this entire creation, then you, me, and every other person in our meeting and outside are also under his care. And each one has got a free choice. And in spite of free choice, he's still taking care. Yeah. So now I allow them the choice whether they want to heed or go by the free choice. So we are, by the freedom that the divine has given us to have the free choice, we fall prey to taking free choice. And in spite of saying Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, we are actually not remaining aligned or not heeding the guidance which we are experiencing from the divine. But that's all part of growing up. And when we don't heed, what happens? We are getting, in spite of that, we are getting guidance through bodily discomfort. So that's another sign for you to reclaim yourself by again surrendering. So throughout our life, we will go through various body symptoms, which if you believe in Almighty, you will again surrender. Recently, I'm now in Mysore. There is a gentleman who was in US and he had a paralytic stroke. And in that stroke, he was in coma for a long time, but he had prayed and surrendered. He didn't know what happened. But in that stage, you know how the common allopathy system is. They give you they declare you as brain dead, but they have no authority unless somebody signs and willing to. So 27 medical hospital gave death certificate for him, but yet the signature was not accepted, and now he is there in Mysore in spite of 27 death certificate. And that is why he invited me. He invited me because he suddenly realized that the entire drama of hospital system was false. So one thing that I want to tell every day I'm upgrading myself thanks to remaining, aligned. So my request to everybody is that the divine upgrades you as long as you are living that life. So I don't know whether you would have noticed, I have come up with one, realization: surrender your day to the night. So all the drama that we are experiencing now, the activism and that also gives us fear. That I've taken vaccine, what will happen? Somebody's having all the drama that you're experiencing. All you need to do is, I don't know anything what's happening. There are too many practitioners, too many alternate medicine, too many theories. I surrender it all to you. You guide me to the straight path, upgrade me. Next day morning, you'll find that some insight will come. So, and that insight will make you express it in the most beautiful way in the days to come. So that is a term our homeopath doctor explains, that well-being, apart from well-being, the next thing that we want is evolution. If we are evolving, that means we are on the path of the divine. Well-being is a comfortable state. You can easily fall prey to balance, lose balance here and there. Well-being should be supported by evolution. You are evolving, upgrading yourself. So see if you can surrender each day and get upgraded with some insight in your life. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Steffi.
Yeah. How is your latest kid? How old is he now?
He's very good, Alhamdulillah. He just turned 6 months old, 10 days ago. Yeah.
Okay. Later,
He's
maybe you can.
already trying to get on crawl on his knees. He's saying Amma, Appa. He's trying to grab on food. He's sitting for a little bit. I was a little, because I've had back-to-back pregnancies in a very short span of time. I think this fourth pregnancy took me the longest for me to kind of embrace it wholeheartedly in the beginning, because of the kind of pressure that I got, that will I be able to manage? What if my body is not ready enough? Um, and some people also suggested that because I don't take supplements, I don't do anything, as long as I'm feeling good, I just follow the cues of my body. You would remember when we were traveling last year, when we went to Patna, um, and we were taking those workshops back to back and going from one village to another. And I was already 7 months pregnant at the time, and tandem nursing my other children alongside. And then I got diarrhea. And we have been so, that I'm pregnant, I'm breastfeeding, I'm traveling, I must take a lot of liquid, so I don't fall short of the, vital force. But intuitively, my body was telling me not to have anything at all. Not even banana, not even coconut water or water. And I got better in it. The diarrhea was so severe, I had to go to the washroom like 20 times a day. And but I remained true, Alhamdulillah, and you were all there to guide me and support me in my decision. You weren't forcing me that, oh no, you must be careful, or how a lot of people do, and then you actually succumb to that voice instead of listening to your own. because there are so, and then you're like, अच्छा चलो ठीक है कुछ खा ही लेते हैं, because you don't want to feel low, you want to be supported in that vulnerable period. But I got better within 2 days, alhamdulillah. And I then remember you telling me that even liquid, because I was under the impression as long as at least you're having liquid, I think you're okay. But you said no, the body doesn't need anything at all. If it does, it will ask for it. And
Absolutely.
it is, and the body only wants to focus on healing and coming out of it. And if you're giving it even water, then even digesting, and how digesting water is actually harder for the body. You, I also remember you mentioning something like that, how we should take very small sips of water, and uh, that was very
The
interesting.
logic in diarrhea is that when
Yeah,
you take water, the toxic thing that is being removed by the body, it gets further diluted. So you'll have many more times to go for motion.
right, right. So I remember getting better in less than 2 days, and that was huge for me. So this time around, when I got pregnant, and like, uh, intellectually, I was feeling that this may not be the right time, and I have other children to tend to, and what if the baby falls short of some vital things, or but to my surprise and Allah's grace, I found out that this baby was the healthiest of my babies so far. Alhamdulillah, he had the most body weight at the time of birth, and he looks also a little bigger than all of them, mashallah. And he's been very quick to, he has been alert, very jovial, very makes eye contact, talking, the so-called milestones, but not that I go by what has been standardized, but he feels very, very healthy, and I also feel, alhamdulillah, very well. So, but these things you only would know once you um, experience them on your own.
Yeah.
Um, People call it an experiment that you're doing with your life, but I would say that this is nature. If I was caught in the middle of a jungle with no information, nothing at all, I would only go by what my body is telling me to do. So that has been a very important. Yeah, Tarun, do you want to say something? Somebody raised their hand.
Yeah, Rizwan has raised the hand.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Let's take more people.
I was listening to
Because
I was listening to you, mashallah, like how you treated your diarrhea during pregnancy, and I want to share my experience. I'm a mother of 3 kids, and my eldest is now 9.5, and I haven't given any medicine to any of them, mashallah. So the thing is, even my youngest, he was administered the antibiotics when he was an infant, like at birth, just because he was in hospital and we were in hospital. He had a transient tachypnea. So they did not, they did the X-rays, and then without the reports, without the test, they put him on antibiotics. And then I suffered like for 2 complete years. He was always ill. He always had fever. He always had fever. Matlab, cold cough fever. Matlab, out of the whole month, he was ill for 3 weeks. And matlab, it was such a bad time for me. Matlab, just because he was administered those antibiotics when he was born, so pure 2 saal he suffered, and I suffered along with him. Because of course, when the child is not well, you can't take care of the rest of the family. But then I was taking care of him through the natural way. He used to get healed through the natural way, but then he used to fall sick again. So, but what I'm trying to say here is that we should always be careful when we are giving, matlab, when we've been put into the pressure of the hospital or wherever we are in. Okay, start the antibiotics. We should never, never, ever start the antibiotics. And like I suffered because of those antibiotics. And then he used to have febrile seizures also because even at 102 fever, he used to have seizures. So what I used to do with him, I used to sponge him, and he, balki he,
नेचर ऐसी चीज है कि वो ही यूज्ड टू टेक मी टू द वॉशरूम, मतलब वो मुझे बोलता था कि ही यूज्ड टू डायरेक्ट मी टू द वॉशरूम से माँ मुंह धुलाएं, मुंह वॉश ऐसे. So as I subhanallah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us कि this is what we need to do when the fever is high. We need to sponge the baby. We need to wash him. What he used to do, he used to take water himself and put it on his face and hands and arms, and then I used to sponge him. So thing is, even in those, alhamdulillah. So yes, nature directs you, and the intuition आपकी आ जाती है where you have to, intervention की जरूरत है, and where you need to stop, and medicines वगैरह से बचना है. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So one learning we have to understand is that someone, when she was managing, she had an intuition that was guiding her, and because I am a like-minded, I
It's not audible. Safi sir, are you there? Am I audible? Hello. Am I
Some
audible?
audible. Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. I think Safi sir's network just dropped. Is there anyone else who would like to? Lakshmi, hi. Are you around? Would you like to say something? Are there any
Yes,
other
I'm
mothers?
around. Yeah, I'm around someone, and I'm just trying not to be overwhelmed with the wealth of wisdom that is coming through in the question and answers, in the in the experiences. And while I'm not
Paul
a mother
came and
and I've not taken that route in life, but the amount of body wisdom that is being downloaded and I'm assimilating, I just feel extremely blessed and extremely grateful to everyone here for sharing this. I have no words to express what this is doing for me in the current stage I am in, and there is so much faith, and I'm so feeling already healed. And thank you so much. This has been a very, very healing session for me. Thank you.
Glad. So glad. Thank you.
someone yesterday, day before yesterday, one elderly person who has been following me and our works, and also supporting me also in a big way. Any requests and a big amount comes from him. Now this man is 75-year-old. He never consulted me. He has not joined a course. Maybe perhaps he's not getting unwell itself. So he said, Sefi bhai, I need to consult you. I returned from some foreign trip, and my pulse rate is 120. As against what should be 60. So then, as per our learning, I made him express his devotion and trust in Almighty, and gave him a set of 1 to 6 verses to read and feel it in the breath. And with that, he was a man of conviction and faith. Next day morning, I get a message that my pulse became 80. Thank you very much. And thank God, at the age of 75, had he gone and checked with a doctor, they would have admitted him in critical care, because pulse rate is 120. That is a sign of heart attack. What happened? Nothing happened to him. So this is how luckily we have a big group. In the group itself we can consult, isn't it? Yeah, that will restore our faith.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, all right.
Thank you. Thank you. Indu, are you there?
Hi, Saman. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Indu. Thank you for actually making all this happen. And I hope you got some answers. And
Yes, Saman, definitely. Now I'm got a little bit more confidence so that I can take a decision now. And because this, as Reba was telling, it has just come naturally, like common sense. When I saw the list of the vaccination, it just I questioned myself. So should I really give so much of vaccination is needed for my baby? That's a question thing, and that's all started. And thanks to my dear friend Soumya, she is the one who introduced breastfeeding group, and that's all happened. And Saman, thank you so much for a quick revert, and you took this and made this session happen. It was really very insight about the vaccination and everything. I really thank you. Thanks a lot.
thank you, Indu.
Have
Thank
more
you so much.
discussion on this as Karan was dropping in a message. Maybe like next week or whenever you guys arrange for a meeting so that we can have more questions or answers regarding to that.
Inshallah, bilkul. I don't know a lot of people who are still there. Would anybody else like to say something or any questions for anyone?
Chidambaram has raised his hand.
We can't hear you.
Chidambaram,
We can't hear you, Chidambaram.
unmute and speak. Chidambaram, you have to unmute and speak. No, we can't hear you, Chidambaram. You have to unmute.
Hello.
We can hear you now. Yeah.
So far, we couldn't hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now. Yeah, sorry. 1 minute, please. Just a minute, please. I'm trying to change the screen so that I can. Okay. Can you hear me now? I'll just speak anyways. Hello. Hello. I'm again.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. So here's the thing, right? So I'm not sure I'm outside in the open and speaking on my mobile. So I'm not sure how clear I am and how long I can go on. But I'll just say something. See, I have a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old. I've been learning about vaccines for the last 21 years. My elder son got vaccinated a little bit and he reacted to it, but my younger son has been mostly vaccine free except for that vitamin K shot, which I also didn't know at the hospital. But other than that, yeah, so I've been mostly, making sure that we don't get vaccines and antibiotics and any other unnecessary things. So yeah, and I've also been trying to talk to people and make them understand. One thing I would suggest that people who are in doubt about whether it's useful or harmful to not vaccinate children, talk to other parents with similar experiences. Thanks to the internet, thanks to years of networking, there are a lot of other parents who have actually not vaccinated, and you can clearly see the difference between the unvaccinated and the vaccinated kids. It's like somebody mentioned in this meeting that there's no data between the vaccinated and unvaccinated. Actually, that's not true. If you actually look a little bit enough, you will see that there's a lot of. Okay, I'll have to leave. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. The deal is that people who want to talk about it, like we are also recording the session, but I'm not completely sure if we will be able to put this online. We can share it with people via email, but this is how censorship works, right? I remember writing a blog a couple of years ago, but post-COVID, and I had just in that entire 5,000 word blog, in one line, I had mentioned how I have not vaccinated my children, and the platform Medium did not put my post up. It removed it. All the posts that I put up on Facebook, and if they have the word vaccine in it, it is censored. So we know that people who want to talk about it, like I'm sure this video can serve as a great pool of resource, and we'll have to find other ways of reaching out to people. Anyone else would like to say something? Because it's 1:50. Okay, thank you everyone. I think it was a very insightful. I wasn't there for most part of it. Thank you, Nuti Masi. Thank you, Safi sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Lovely meeting and chatting with all of you.
Yes.
Bye.
We'll do this again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Saman. Thank you, Karan. Thank you all. Bye. Bye.
So, Sophie, how can we connect with you? No, he's not here. Mm-hmm.